Okay, welcome everybody. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the roles that genetics plays in our dog's aggressive reactive behavior. And if you tuned in yesterday, we talked about how we have to look at the underlying issues that are causing our dog's barking, lunging, and growling behavior. Because if we're just looking at the reactivity on walks, the fighting in the house, and the fact that your dog won't let people come into the house or you're worried about that, we're missing the proverbial boat because there's a lot of other issues that are at play here. So welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Denise Mazzola. This is Geo, this is Minty, and we are from Everything Dog, where we work with dogs who are aggressive and reactive and stopping that aggression and stopping that reactivity so that you guys can enjoy your walks. You can have family and friends over without worrying that your dog is going to bite somebody, and your dogs will stop fighting. So in today's video, we're going to pick up where I left off yesterday. So let's just do a quick recap. In yesterday's video, we talked specifically about how we need to address the root cause or the underlying issue that our dogs are experiencing that's causing the aggressive reactive behavior. We need to start seeing behavior as a symptom of these underlying issues. And I gave you a couple examples, and you can look at that video to catch up and see what those examples are. So today, we're going to specifically talk about the role of genetics. And this is going to play into the fact that we need to stop blaming you guys, the dedicated, loving dog owners that are frustrated and confused by your dog's aggressive reactive behavior. Because everybody has told you they need more socialization. Everybody has told you you need to do more training. Everybody's told you need to be more dominant. You need to show them who's leader. You've spoiled them too much. You haven't trained them enough. None of which is true. And this, I'm not sure if I'm going to tell you one or two studies, but we're going to talk about a study today that really speaks to one of the primary root causes of your dog's behavior, which is genetics. And it has very little to do with what you've done or not done with your dog. Okay, so this study was done a while ago, and it was done on adult mice. Okay, so one group of mice were exposed to the odor of cherry blossom in their enclosures. So they had this lovely odor of cherry blossom waft in, and then boom, they were given a shock, right? The floor was electrified and they experienced a shock. All right, that's terrible. And it happened again, and then by the third time that they wafted odor into this group of adult mice, they were shaking and shuddering, and they were anticipating the shock, right? Of course they were. That's pure classical conditioning, pure Pavlovian association. Ivan Pavlov won a Nobel Peace Prize for that discovery. That's not what's interesting about the study, okay? What's interesting about the study is that they bred those adult mice. So there was another group that also had the cherry blossom odor wafted into their enclosure, but there was no shock administered. Okay, so those were the two groups. So the group of mice, so they bred both groups of mice. And the mice that had been administered the shock and that shuddered when they smelled cherry blossom. So from forevermore, whenever those poor mice had the odor of cherry blossom wafted into their enclosure, they would shudder and shake, anticipating the shock. Whether it happened or not was irrelevant. They were anticipating it, okay? So then they bred those mice. And what they found, and this is what's super interesting, is that two generations of mice from that initial group produced offspring that when they smelled the odor of cherry blossom, shuddered and shook, anticipating the bad thing from happening, although they had never experienced the shock. Okay, are you following me? It's called epigenetics, and it was passed on for 2 generations, not just one, 2 generations. Huge discovery, right? The control group that just had the cherry blossom odor wafted into their enclosure, but they didn't experience a shock, guess what? They had no reaction when they smelled cherry blossom whatsoever, and the offspring that they produced had no concerns about the cherry blossom. So what does this have to do with you and your dog? everything. It has everything to do with you and your dog. You could buy, purchase, rescue, adopt a puppy or an older dog whose, let's just say, mom experienced some scary situation with loud noises. I don't know what that could be. Loud noises. Maybe she was running loose somewhere in the south and she was caught in a major thunderstorm at a formidable age, and she was forever worried about loud noises, including thunderstorms. And then she reproduces. And guess what? She's going to reproduce 2 generations of offspring that are worried or afraid of loud noises and or thunder. This is just an example, okay? It could be anything. It could be anything. So here you purchase this puppy or you adopt this puppy, whatever it is, it's irrelevant because it's all the same genetics that we're talking about. And sometimes people say, oh, the day I brought the dog home, like he was a nervous wreck. He wouldn't come out from under the seat in front of him, or he hid under our couch for a week and we had to, pull him out to get him to go out and go to the bathroom. Or, I mean, those are kind of a serious case, right? Or people just say, yeah, she was nervous about sounds from the day we brought her home. That's genetics. That is not anything you've done or not done to cause this. Now, are there things that you can do that might make it better or a little bit worse? Well, of course there are. There's always things. It's not like this is the old sort of nature versus nurture conversation. But it's not all in how we raise them. Puppies don't come to us as blank slates, okay? I got this guy when he was 10 months, 11 months old, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't want him. I didn't want him because he was coming from a breeder that I knew, a client of mine. I had showed her dogs for her, in rally and obedience and stuff. He'd been on the show ring. He'd been in a breeder's home. I thought, he hasn't been well socialized. I don't want him. And he was in Florida originally. Then, of course, he found his way to New Hampshire where we were living at the time. And I said, all right, well, I'll do the politically correct thing and I'll bring him home. Great. So I brought him home and we took him to New York. We took him to Boston. We let him parade up to everybody we met, dogs, people, it didn't matter. And he was solid. Like this, what you're seeing here, this is who he is. Like he's like this on a walk. He's like this in the camper. He's like this when we're traveling. He's just easygoing, Mr. Mellow. It takes a lot to get him riled up. Feeding time is probably the thing that gets him the most riled up, right? That's genetics. So I didn't want him because he hadn't been well socialized, in my opinion. And then when I spent some time with him, I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. He wasn't well socialized, and he's a great dog. He's what everybody wants in a dog. That's genetics, right? That's good genetics. That's the kind of genetics we want to pass along. That he's steady Eddie, friendly with people, but not stupid friendly with people. He checks out other dogs if you let him. If he doesn't, he's happy not to. He can go anywhere and do anything. Okay, that's just his genetics. It had nothing to do with how he was socialized. It had nothing to do with how he was trained, because at 10 months of age, he had had no training. He'd been paraded around a ring. Okay, so 2 examples of genetics and how they can play out. So we've got to stop this blaming and shaming of dog owners who are doing everything they're told to do. In my experience, everybody that I see, they've gone through 2, 3, 4 trainers. They've used cookie trainers, balance trainers, shock collar trainers. They felt like Pez dispensers. Many of them have gone to expensive board and trains. You're masters of YouTube, looking at YouTube videos, right? Here you are looking at this one. For the same purpose, is to stop the barking, lunging, and growling, stop the aggressive and reactive behavior. And we've got to stop blaming dog owners, and we have got to start looking deeper at the genetics that the dog has come with that are hardwired in their DNA. It's installed at the manufacturer, if you want, whatever term you want. And there are things that we can do to help, but we cannot undo genetics, right? I am more extroverted. I like to be around people. I have premature gray hair. That's all genetics. I can't change that. You can't punish the extroversion out of me, nor can you punish the gray hair out of me. I kind of wish you could, but you can't. All right, so you get the idea. Okay, so let's just recap. In order to stop the aggressive reactive behavior once and for all, the number one thing that we need to start doing is looking at the underlying issues. There are many underlying issues. Your dog could have more than one. The one we're looking at today is genetics, and specifically epigenetics and the role that it has on nurture versus nature, right? And that your dog can come uh, to you with no traumatic events in their life and still be nervous or anxious or feel fearful of something because of genetics from grandma or grandpa on either side or mom and dad on either side delivered to your dog. Because that study on mice that was done, Scientific America posted it, but that was the most interesting thing that they discovered. All right, so tomorrow on live, I'm going to talk about health issues, because health issues are another underlying issue that could be raising havoc in your dog's behavior. And you guys, this isn't just one thing, right? There's not like we can do one thing and solve all the problems. We have to look at this whole picture of your dog as being a living, breathing being. He's very different than she is, and that's who they are as individuals. That's their genetics. That's how partially, could be how they were brought up. She we don't know. She's a rescue. We do know. We do know how he was raised. All right, so tomorrow we're going to talk about health issues and what are some of those health issues that could be affecting your dog's barking, lunging, and growling. And if you want to be a part of our next free webinar, How to Stop Your Dog's Barking, Lunging, and Growling Without Spending Hours on Socialization, Obedience, or Expensive Boot Camps, drop the word CALM, C-A-L-M, in the comments, and we will send you that link so that you can join us on our next free webinar. And I will see you guys tomorrow.